Millionaire in my family. I'm the first singer in my first movie store. I got 10 billion in box office receipts on my name. I'm one of one. I am from the hood, but I'm not of the hood.
Right.
This is all I got.
Hollywood's Fast and Furious star Tyrese Gibson is once again in the spotlight, but this time, it's not because of a movie premiere or a chart-topping song. Recent headlines have left fans stunned and heartbroken as shocking news surrounding the actor's personal life and legal troubles unfolds. Tyrese, known for his soulful music and powerful film roles, is now facing an unexpected storm that could impact both his career and reputation. According to reports, Gibson was charged with animal cruelty after an incident involving his Cane Corso dogs in Georgia turned tragic. What began as a routine day quickly spiraled into chaos when neighbors claimed that his dogs attacked and killed a smaller dog. The news sent shockwaves through Hollywood, not only because of the severity of the allegations, but also because Tyrese has long been known as an outspoken animal lover and family man in a world where celebrity lives are constantly under the microscope. Tyrese's situation has ignited heated debates online. Some fans have rushed to his defense, believing the story is being blown out of proportion. Others insist that justice must be served, no matter the fame attached to the name. Now, as Tyrese faces the legal system and public scrutiny, questions are swirling. What really happened that day? Is the actor being unfairly targeted? Or is there more to the story than he's letting on? One thing is certain. The truth behind these headlines is far more emotional and complex than most realize. What's unfolding is not just a legal case, but a deeply personal battle that may test Tyrese Gibson like never before. The quiet neighborhood of Fayetteville, Georgia, was shaken one September morning when tragedy struck, and the name at the center of the headlines was none other than Tyrese Gibson, the actor best known for his role as Roman Pierce in the Fast and Furious franchise. What seemed like a peaceful suburban day quickly turned into a scene of confusion and heartbreak after reports emerged that 4 of Tyrese's Cane Corso dogs had allegedly attacked and killed a neighbor's small dog. According to local authorities, the incident occurred on a calm weekday morning when the dogs somehow escaped Tyrese's property. Witnesses said the animals roamed the neighborhood before the attack happened. "It all happened so fast," one neighbor told reporters. "We heard barking and screaming, and by the time people rushed over, it was too late." The Fayette County Sheriff's Office confirmed that officers responded to multiple calls about the incident. Upon investigation, they discovered that this was not the first time Tyrese's dogs had gotten loose. Several complaints had reportedly been filed in previous months about the dogs roaming free in the area. This, officials say, played a major role in the decision to issue an animal cruelty charge against the actor. News of the charge spread rapidly across social media. For millions of fans who had grown up watching Tyrese on screen and listening to his music, the allegations felt almost impossible to believe. Tyrese, known for his spiritual outlook and devotion to family, was now facing a storm of criticism and a potential legal battle that could stain his reputation forever. Just hours after the news broke, Tyrese took to Instagram to share his side of the story. In a long, emotional post, he expressed deep sympathy for his neighbor's loss and claimed he had already rehomed the dogs before the attack occurred. "I would never intentionally harm any living creature," he wrote. "My heart breaks for what happened, and I am cooperating fully with the authorities." Still, questions lingered. If the dogs had already been rehomed, how did they end up back on the property? Did someone mishandle them? Was there a misunderstanding in the timeline of events? Tyrese insisted that the truth would come out. But by then, public opinion had already begun to shift. Soon after, an arrest warrant was issued when Tyrese reportedly missed the initial deadline to turn himself in. This move further fueled speculation and outrage online. However, within days, he complied with the order, appeared at the jail, and was later released on a $20,000 bond. Outside the courthouse, he appeared somber but calm, choosing his words carefully. "I believe in the justice system. I love my animals, I love my neighbors, and I'm trusting God to handle the rest." Behind the cameras, though, those close to Tyrese say the incident has taken a deep emotional toll. The actor, who has already endured several public struggles, including a bitter custody battle and mental health challenges, is reportedly devastated by the backlash. "He feels misunderstood," said one longtime friend. "He's not perfect, but he's always been a man with a big heart. This situation has crushed him. The case remains under investigation, and the outcome could determine the future of Tyrese's career and public image. But for now, one thing is clear. This heartbreaking chapter has forced him into the most difficult role of his life, defending his name in a story that feels more tragic than any Hollywood script he's ever been part of. As the news of Tyrese Gibson's animal cruelty charge spread across social media, fans around the world were left in disbelief. The man who once brought laughter and warmth to millions through his roles in Fast and Furious and Transformers was now at the center of a controversy that no one saw coming. Within hours, hashtags like Pray for Tyrese and Justice for Tyrese began trending on X, formerly Twitter, showing that while some had turned against him, a large portion of his fan base still stood firmly by his side. Tyrese's followers flooded his comment sections with prayers, messages of love, and words of encouragement. "We all make mistakes, and we know your heart," one fan wrote. "Stay strong, Tyrese. This storm will pass." But alongside the support came an equal wave of criticism. Animal rights activists and some Hollywood insiders demanded accountability, insisting that fame should not shield anyone from responsibility. The situation became even more intense when video clips and police reports began circulating online, allegedly showing inconsistencies in the timeline of the dog's rehoming. Many began to question whether Tyrese had acted soon enough to prevent the tragedy. The public's reaction was divided, torn between empathy for a grieving pet owner and compassion for a man who might have simply made a terrible mistake. And colleagues from the entertainment industry began to weigh in. One of Tyrese's longtime co-stars from Fast and Furious, Ludacris, reportedly reached out privately to offer support. "Tyrese has always been passionate, sometimes misunderstood," a close associate shared. "But he's not cruel. Anyone who's worked with him knows that." Vin Diesel, another close friend, refused to comment publicly, but sources claimed that he had spoken to Tyrese in private, encouraging him to stay grounded and let the truth come out naturally. Behind the public show of resilience, those close to Tyrese say the actor was struggling. He had been filming a new project at the time the news broke, but production was quietly paused as he dealt with the legal situation. "He's been through so much over the past few years," one confidant revealed. "This latest hit, it's taken the fight out of him. He's heartbroken for the family who lost their pet and heartbroken that people think he could ever be careless." Meanwhile, the neighbors affected by the incident have remained largely silent, except for one brief statement to local news outlets expressing grief over the loss of their small dog. "We don't hate him," one of them said. "We just want responsibility. We loved our dog like family." That comment struck a chord across the internet, reminding everyone that this story carried pain on both sides. Tyrese's legal team has since confirmed that he's cooperating fully with the investigation, even providing evidence that he was out of town at the time of the incident. "We are confident that once all facts are reviewed, this matter will be resolved fairly," his lawyer stated. Still, the court of public opinion remains unpredictable. As Tyrese retreats from the spotlight, he's reportedly leaned on his faith more than ever. Those who know him say he spends long hours in prayer, seeking peace amid chaos. "He's a spiritual man," one friend said. "He believes everything happens for a reason, even the pain." Despite the noise, Tyrese's message to his fans remains the same. "I'm sorry for what happened. My heart breaks for everyone involved. I'm trusting God to bring the truth to light. In a world quick to judge, that quiet plea for understanding may be his strongest defense yet." In the weeks following the shocking news, Tyrese Gibson's world seemed to crumble piece by piece. What had started as a tragic misunderstanding spiraled into a media storm that left him emotionally drained and publicly vulnerable. For a man who once stood as one of Hollywood's most confident and outspoken stars, this was unfamiliar territory, and it showed. Shortly after his release from jail, Tyrese broke his silence once again with a deeply emotional video posted to Instagram Live. Dressed in a plain black hoodie, his eyes red from lack of sleep, he spoke directly to his fans. "I've made mistakes, I've had bad days, but this one hurts the most," he said. "I've spent my life trying to spread love and light. To be painted like this, it breaks my heart." The video quickly went viral, garnering millions of views within hours. Fans flooded the comments with messages of support, many urging him to stay strong and continue fighting for the truth. But the internet can be cruel, and not everyone was forgiving. Critics accused him of using emotion to manipulate public opinion, while others mocked his tears, labeling it a publicity stunt. Despite the noise, those closest to Tyrese said his pain was real. "He's not acting, he's hurting," one friend shared. "Tyrese wears his heart on his sleeve. When he feels betrayed or misunderstood, it hits him hard." Meanwhile, Hollywood's reaction was noticeably more cautious. Studios that once eagerly promoted his projects began to distance themselves quietly. A source close to one major production revealed that discussions about Tyrese's future appearances were being reevaluated due to the controversy. "They're waiting to see how the legal case plays out," the insider explained. "No one wants to take sides too early, but the damage has already been done." This wasn't the first time Tyrese had faced public scrutiny. Over the years, he had been open about his mental health struggles, his highly publicized divorce, and his emotional breakdowns during a custody battle for his daughter. But this time it was different. The accusations carried legal weight and moral consequences. "This situation has shaken him," said a family member. "He's trying to hold on to his faith, but the pressure is unbearable." In an attempt to make amends, Tyrese reached out privately to the family whose pet had been killed. While the details of that conversation remain undisclosed, sources close to both parties confirmed it was a sincere and tearful exchange. He told them he was sorry, truly sorry, one insider revealed. He didn't make excuses. He just wanted them to know he was heartbroken too. But even as he tried to heal behind the scenes, Tyrese's online behavior drew concern. Late-night posts filled with cryptic Bible verses and emotional confessions painted a picture of a man at war with himself. "It's been hard watching him spiral," another close friend said. "He's carrying guilt, fear, and shame, and it's showing." Despite everything, Tyrese continued to find strength in his faith. He began attending church more frequently and speaking with pastors for guidance. "I know people are judging me," he said in one of his later posts, "but I serve a God who knows the truth. I just want peace." In a heartbreaking twist, Tyrese hinted at stepping away from the public eye altogether. "Maybe it's time I disappear for a while," he wrote. "Fame has brought me blessings, but it's also brought me pain. I just need to find myself again." For millions of fans who grew up watching him smile, sing, and inspire, those words struck deeply. The once unstoppable Tyrese Gibson, the man who brought laughter to the Fast and Furious family, now seemed fragile, lost in a storm he never saw coming. As the storm surrounding Tyrese Gibson slowly began to fade, a quieter, more reflective version of the actor emerged. Gone were the long social media rants and public outbursts, replaced by moments of silence, prayer, and genuine self-reflection. For the first time in years, Tyrese wasn't trying to prove himself to the world. He was trying to heal. Close friends say that after months of battling depression and isolation, Tyrese began taking steps toward rebuilding his life. He realized that if he didn't slow down, he'd lose himself completely, one confidant revealed. He stopped focusing on what people said online and started focusing on what truly mattered: his faith, his family, and his peace. He began attending counseling sessions twice a week, something he once admitted he had avoided for years. Therapy, combined with his renewed connection to spirituality, allowed him to process the trauma of fame, the endless judgment, the constant pressure, and the pain of personal loss. "Fame can destroy you if you let it," Tyrese shared in an interview later. "It took me years to understand that peace doesn't come from applause. It comes from forgiveness and acceptance." In a move that surprised many, Tyrese took a break from acting and music to travel. He spent time in small communities, volunteering at youth centers and speaking to young people about mental health and perseverance. "I don't want anyone to go through what I went through," he said during a talk in Atlanta. "Pain doesn't make you weak, hiding it does." Fans began to notice the change. The man who once seemed trapped by his own emotions now appeared grounded, calm, and wiser. His Instagram posts shifted from emotional confessions to words of hope, gratitude, and healing. "God isn't done with me yet," he wrote in one caption. "Every storm runs out of rain." Despite the progress, Tyrese's comeback wasn't easy. Hollywood's memory is long, and many still viewed him through the lens of his controversies. But instead of chasing validation, he focused on authenticity. "If Hollywood doesn't call me again, I'll still be okay," he said in a heartfelt podcast. "Because I finally learned how to live without needing anyone's approval." Privately, he rekindled relationships that fame had once strained, especially with his daughter, Shayla. The bond between them became his anchor. "Being a father saved me," he admitted. "When everything else fell apart, her love reminded me that I still had purpose." Music, his first love, slowly found its way back into his life as well. But this time, it wasn't about chart success or fame. It was therapy. He began recording soulful, introspective tracks from his home studio, reflecting on pain, forgiveness, and redemption. "Every lyric is a prayer," he said. "Every song is a step toward healing." By the time he reappeared on screen in a small independent film, audiences noticed the difference. His performance carried depth and vulnerability unlike anything he had shown before. Critics praised his honesty, calling it a raw reflection of a man who has lived through both chaos and grace. Today, Tyrese Gibson may not dominate headlines like he once did, but perhaps that's exactly how he wants it. He's learned that peace isn't found under the bright lights of Hollywood, but in the quiet moments when you learn to forgive yourself. As one of his closest friends put it, Tyrese isn't broken anymore. He's rebuilding, one prayer, one day, one song at a time. And for the fans who've followed his journey, from global stardom to heartbreaking struggle, and now to renewal, his story stands as a powerful reminder. Even in the darkest chapters, there's always a way back to the light.